Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geographies of Ayn Defla and Ayn Temouchent in Algeria. First, a quick note about the pronunciation, because I've heard Ayn Temouchent and Ayn Temouchent. I think it's kind of like Montreal is actually pronounced Montreal, like you don't pronounce the T, but in most languages you do. I think, from what I can tell, it's an either or, so whatever I say. If I say it wrong, I apologize. If not, just go with it, I suppose. This video might be a little different if some of you have seen my community tab posts. Northern Algeria in particular, but Northern Algeria is a very fascinating place full of rich, amazing history. If you know your geography of Algeria, about like 95% of it is desert, and this percent up here is not. It is very lush, very fertile, big beautiful mountains, lots of forests, a gorgeous Mediterranean coastline. It's just a very, very beautiful place. Very kind of opposite of the Sahara, which is just dry, hot sand, ergs, things like that. This has so much going. There's lakes and rivers and lots of fertile land, things like that. And with that comes a lot of history and fascinating facts and all kinds of things like that. My dilemma is that I have been, for the past almost week and a half now, researching these two places in Algeria, and I've come up with pretty much nothing. I have been searching high and low for cool historical facts, making an interesting timeline, finding places to show you, interesting geographical features, and I've pretty much got nothing, which is shocking considering where they are in the world. So I'm pretty bewildered for the most part, and concerned because I've been trying to figure out how to make this video. Most people in the comments of that post were like, just post what you have, it's fine. So here you go. Let's see. The Atlas Mountains do cut through this area. It's a branch called the Tell Atlas Mountains. It's mostly prominent here in Ayn Defla. And there's lots of really nice little valleys and farmlands and cool mountain lakes in this area. I can't tell you any more than that because all that I've learned about it is what I can see on Google Earth. Over here in Ayn Temouchent, it's very coastal. There's still some mountainous areas, but the coastline is the dominant geographical feature. There is a neat little beach here. A beach, it's called La Guitare. I think it is slightly guitar shaped. I'll definitely show you on Google Earth. But its claim to fame is that it is a spot for Instagram and for filming beautiful TikToks. And that's all I've got for you guys for geography. And I really tried. I think my theory is that all the websites that I'm looking for are in Arabic. And when I'm searching for things, Google wants to show me English websites, so it'll push all the Arabic ones back. It gave me some French ones. They pretty much told me the same things as the English ones. So that's my theory, is that it's out there. It's just Google doesn't want to show it to me because it's in a language that I'm not familiar with. So if you know more about these areas, especially if you're from these areas, because I know I have a lot of Algerian viewers, please drop down in the comments some cool facts about these areas, because that's literally all that I have. There's some like tourist exploring videos of these places on YouTube, but they mostly just talk about the food, which does not help me. This is not a food channel, so I really tried, you guys. So let me give you a brief history and then we'll go check out Google Earth. What's really neat is that the capital cities, of course, are Ayn Defla and Ayn Temouchent. Loud car outside, sorry. They were both Roman towns, or at least the areas around them were Roman towns. The Romans came in here kind of in the mid to late era of the Roman Empire, before it split off into the Byzantine, when they were really focusing on northern Africa. The town up here was known as Oppidum Novum, and the town over here was known as Albulae. And from what I could tell, there's not much other than that to tell you about Roman times. The city of Ayn Temouchent was actually first founded by Spanish immigrants in 1851. Couldn't tell you any more than that. I tried looking up why these people from Spain were moving to Algeria at a time when the French were moving into Algeria. I couldn't find anything, but I think that's kind of neat, because if you know your Algerian history, the French aggressively invaded and took over and made it, I think it was a full-blown department of France at that time, Algeria. And lots of French influence coming in. So I think it's interesting that this was a Spanish town, maybe because there were other Spanish towns around the coast here in Morocco and still are today. Maybe it just kind of continued over here. I couldn't tell you because there's no information. The town of Ayn Defla also has an interesting origin story. It was founded sometime in the 20th century, could not find a date. But there were many different nomadic tribes, I suppose, in the area here. And the town was established as a hub kind of meeting place for these tribes to meet up and trade and have a safe space to, hang out together. And I guess mixed cultures and things like that, and it became a permanent town. So that's pretty neat. I've got nothing else for history until the Algerian War. And I didn't write down the dates, but it was in the 1950s when the people here were like, we do not want to be a part of France. French, get out. And France said, no way. And they fought a huge war. I was telling my brother-in-law about it because I tell him everything. He knows nothing about world geography, so I give him little bits here and there. But I told him it was kind of like France's Vietnam War, the U.S. is to the Vietnam War as France is to the Algerian War. That's kind of where the similarities end, because they're two very different wars. But it was a kind of war where this superpower has jurisdiction over an area, and they see changes and they don't want those changes to happen, so they come in way too aggressively, and the people fight super aggressively back, and it just turns into a horrible, very violent kind of stalemate. And I suppose the two commonalities is that the native peoples went out. So what's interesting during that time, because of course I'm looking for areas of conflict up here, because war is pretty much all fought here in the north, of course, because down here is all sand. Ayn Defla was actually a forbidden zone, which is not as terrifying as you might think. I thought oh dear, is that a no man's land or something? But it was kind of the opposite. A forbidden zone during the Algerian War was a place for the people, just the regular everyday people, not guerrillas or anything, just regular people who were caught up in war zones would be able to live here peacefully, and no fighting was allowed there. What was forbidden was the war, so it was a little safe haven spot, which is pretty cool. And pretty much that's all I've got for you for history. I know there's more out there. There has to be, because Algerian history is a really, really fascinating one. There's like pirates, there's the like the Arab not invasion, but like the cultural shift into Arabization. It was part of the Ottoman Empire, you know. So much history, and I've got nothing for these areas. So that's all that I have for you. And again, if you do know more, please drop them down in the comments, because I would like to know. I'm sure all of you out there would too, but I want to know too. So here's my Google Earth. Here's Ayn Defla. Let me tap that, and let me zoom out so you can see exactly where you are if you're not too familiar with Algeria. Algeria is the largest country in Africa after Sudan split in two in 2011. Anyway, here you can see Algeria in northern Africa. You can see how the Sahara really dominates this area, right? I've did other videos about Algeria down here in the desert. I was so excited to get up here because you can see the contrast from above. How lush and green and beautiful this area is up here compared to the big old sandy rocky desert. And I was so disappointed with the lack of information I found. Not even the slideshows are anything remarkable. Places like this looks really cool, like a little cool courtyard area. I tried looking up information about it, got nothing. This mosque appears in a lot of photos. What is its significance? I have no idea. I would really like to know. It's a really pretty mosque. Really beautiful. Sorry for my tummy. Yeah, this little clock tower. What does it represent? I wish I could tell you. Ooh, jazzy. But yeah, it's a really lovely city. Here's some of the landscape here. Because I know, I mean, when it's me, when I think Algeria, I immediately just think like Sahara, like Bedouin nomads on their camels. You don't really picture this landscape. It's so gorgeous, right? Beautiful, beautiful, lush land up here. Look at these gorgeous lakes up in the mountains. Beautiful buildings there. There's the snow. It gets very, very snowy here in the winter because that's how high these mountains are. I found another slideshow. Watch it not pop up, right? Up here in this forested area. Let's see if I can find it. I think it was this one. Forêt du Zakar. Yeah, this is it. Like the beautiful landscape in this part of the world. Algeria, northern Algeria, coastal Algeria, is a stunning little corner of the world that I feel like not a lot of people really know about. It's a cow crossing. It is so beautiful, and I really, really wish I could tell you more about it. A little busy me. But I cannot, because I have exhausted my search. I have read everything that I could, and I've got nothing. But isn't that beautiful? That's a really, really lovely slideshow that I found. That's like the only cool slideshow I found. All the rest are just pictures of like people taking selfies and stuff. So, and you can see kind of this valley area where Ayn Defla is. There's a little peak right there, and the mountains come through there. So we zoom in a bit so you can see some of like the farming areas. Let's find some. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Lots of lush farmland. There's a river. Lots and lots of farms between the mountains here. Lots and lots of farms. Wish I could tell you what they're farming. In my community post, people are like, talk about the language. And I'm like, okay, it's Arabic. They speak Arabic. They, in official, formal places, they speak French, but pretty much it's just Arabic. There's the language. People are like, talk about like the famous people. I got nothing. Talk about the animals, like camels and stuff. But yeah, pretty disappointing to be honest. And let's head over to Ayn Temouchent. If I remember, this slideshow's pretty lacking too. Ayn Temouchent. In northwestern Algeria. Really pretty place, of course, being where it is in the world. That's a beautiful picture, isn't it? This kind of, I'm sure it's a mosque. I'm sure this is a minaret, but it looks an awful lot like a church, and it could very well be. Like, this looks like a church. These look like church towers, not minarets. So I kind of wonder. I wish I could tell you more. Because, yeah, that looks like, it even kind of looks like a cathedral in a way, doesn't it? Yeah, this is very churchy. Which, like, you know, I'm not doubting that there aren't Christians there. I'm sure there are many, but this looks very much like a Christian church. But like I said, I can't tell you any more about it. That's all I've got. So let me show you this area that I guess is very popular on Instagram, the Plage La Guitare. Now, I assume it's called that because this is like the bottom of the guitar and that's where the hole is. I assume. So there's this cool, it's like the rock just kind of like caved in and made this big hole appear. And then there's also like a tunnel here so you can go in the water, and I'll show you. It's a very beautiful spot. It makes this view. Like, isn't that lovely? And I tried to look up why, like, when you search Ayn Temouchent, all you get is this place. And from what I can tell, it's just because it's really popular for Instagram. I assume it's lovely to swim in. It's the Mediterranean, after all. This guy's definitely enjoying the water. But, like, it just seems like a very beautiful place to go to take pictures and film TikToks, which is fine, you know. I just wish there's a little more to it, something a little more interesting, you know. Out here are some pretty cool islands I can show you. They're kind of, let me see if I can actually find the islands. 1 minute. Here we go. Is that one of them? I don't want to show you the wrong island. Oh, it's in Arabic. I cannot tell. I should really learn how to at least, like, read Arabic. That might be a goal sometime. Here we go. This is an island I can show you. It has a really cool lighthouse. Faro. This little island just seems to be populated by like 1 billion seagulls. And it has this really cool old lighthouse. Kind of Spanish looking, isn't it? Wish I could tell you more about it. Look at all the seagulls. It must be so noisy there. But that's pretty neat, isn't it? That would be a really cool place to explore. To me, that would be a cool place to take pictures and TikToks and things. Oh, it must be so loud with seagulls there. It's like seagull heaven. There was another cool island, but it was very tiny. I don't know if I'm going to find it. There's a Sunday beach. Let's take a look at their pictures here. Please, please, please. Oh, there's a little bit. Nice. I mean, a beach is a beach is a beach. But, still really pretty. That's beautiful, isn't it? Especially Mediterranean beaches. Unless you're in, like, Greece, they're kind of very similar. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find the other islands. Was it these? I think it was this one. I think this is part of Ayn Temouchent. Réserve naturelle, Bouzajar. And yeah, it's one of those where, like, it's just for scientific research. I think this was the island. If not, then there's another one nearby. I think it is, though. I think it is part of Ayn Temouchent. I think that's the island I was looking for. And that's all that I have for you. Believe it or not, I have been trying to script this video for a very long time. This is the hardest I've had to dig, and it's like, whenever I feel like I've got nothing for a script, I just dig and dig, and eventually I find something. I kept digging and digging, and I just never found anything, and I had to just throw in the towel and be like, that's all I've got. So that's going to be it for tonight. If this was your first time watching one of these videos, I promise you that the other videos in the series are much more detailed in terms of history and geography. You can check out my ASMR Around the World playlist, or you can hit subscribe because we're going to a bunch of places this coming week. Next, we're going to be heading over to East Timor. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational. And I really hope that you have a very good